Nobody designed poverty by accident. Someone built this system, someone profit from it, and today I am going to show you exactly how it works. Hello everyone, I am Ihsan Akande, and today you people are going to understand the system, understand why the poor people are poor, why the poor countries are poor, why the poor countries are kept poor. Right now in 2026, the world has more wealth than any point in human history. Global GDP crossed $110 trillion. Technology is advancing faster than ever before, and yet over 100 million people still lives on less than $2.15 a day. The number that hasn't changed enough in decades. Ask yourself why. If this kind of content opens your eye, follow this page right now, because this is just beginning. Here is where it starts. A poor country needs money, roads, hospitals, schools, infrastructures. So it goes to the World Bank or IMF or a wealthy nation and it borrows. Now, borrowing sounds reasonable. Every country borrows, but here is what the trap begins. The interest rates on the loan to the poor countries are significantly higher than loan to rich one, because the poor countries are considered high risk. So they pay more to borrow money to build the things that would make them less poor. Think about that logic for one moment. The poorer you are, the more expensive it is to borrow the money you need. Being poor, it gets worse. When a poor country cannot repay, which happens, they don't need debate forgiveness. They get a new loan to pay the old one at the higher interest. The debt grows faster than economy grows, and now the country is trapped. It owes more than it earns every year without any expectation. But debt is the only first layer. When the IMF or World Bank lends money, they attach conditions. These are called a structure adjustment program. This is where it gets darker. The condition typically require the borrowing country to cut government spending, privatize public services, open their market to foreign goods, remove protection for local industries. These sound like economic reforms. They are presented as economic reforms. But here's what they actually do. Cutting government spending means fewer hospitals, fewer teachers, fewer public services for the poorest people. Privatizing public services means water, electricity, and healthcare get sold to foreign corporations, who then charge prices local people cannot afford. Opening market to foreign goods means cheap imported products flood in. Local manufacturers cannot compete. Local industries collapse. Local jobs disappear. Removing protection from local industries means the industries that wealthy countries use to protect their own development are forbidden for poor countries. America protected its steel industries for decades while it was developing. Germany protected its manufacturing sector. South Korea protected its technology sector. All of them built wall around their young industries until those industries were strong enough to compete globally. Then once they were rich, they told poor countries no protection allowed. The ladder they climbed, they pulled it up behind them. Share this video right now, because this is the information that never makes it to mainstream news. Now we go deeper. Poor countries are not poor because they have nothing. This is the biggest myth of all time. The Democratic Republic of Congo has 24 trillion worth of mineral reserves beneath its soil. Cobalt, coltan, gold, diamonds, copper, 24 trillion in one country. The DRC is ranked among the poorest nation on earth. How is that possible? Here's how. The minerals get extracted by foreign mining corporations from Europe, from China, from America. The profit leaves the country back to corporate headquarters in wealthy nation. The taxes paid are minimized through transfer pricing, a legal counting trick where corporations charge themselves artificially high prices between their own subsidies to more profit out of their countries before it can be taxed. The local population gets the environment damage, the health consequences, the displacement from their land, the dangerous working condition, and the wages that keep them surviving but never thriving. This is not a Congo story, this is a Bolivia story, this is a Nigeria story, a Papua New Guinea story, a Zambia story. Wherever the earth holds the value and the local government is weak enough or corrupt enough, the same system operates. Extract the value, extract the profit, leave the damage. But wait, what if a poor country decides enough? We will process our own resources, we will manufacture our own goods, we will add value locally before we export. This is a logical response. This is what every rich country did. And here's what happened when the poor country tried it. Trade agreement blocked them. The World Trade Organization, which sets the rules for global trade, was largely designed by wealthy nations for wealthy nations. Agriculture subsidies in the US and Europe, which amount to hundreds of billions of dollars per year, allow Western farmers to sell their product globally at the price below what it costs to produce them. A farmer in Ghana cannot compete with a product that is being sold below cost because the cost is being covered by an American government subsidy. So the Ghanaian farmers lose their market domestically and intentionally. Their farms fail. They move to cities looking for work. The cities cannot observe them. Poverty deepens and the IMF arrives with another loan with more conditions. The recycle restarts. This is not a conspiracy theory. Remember, these are documented, published, studied by economics at Harvard, Oxford, and the United States. The system produced their outcomes consistently across decades, across continents, because the system was built to produce them. Like this video, if this is the first time someone explained it clearly, because you deserve to understand the world you live in. So let us be completely clear about what we are describing. Rich countries lend money to poor countries at high interest. When some poor countries cannot repay, they borrow more. The condition attached to the loan forced poor countries to open their market, destroying local industries. Foreign corporations extract resources, moving profit out of before it can be taxed. Trade rules prevent poor countries from protecting their own development. And then when poverty presents, the explanation given to the world is corruption, laziness, bad governance, cultural problem. Sometimes those things are real, of course. Corruption exists, bad governance exists. But here's the question nobody asks loudly enough. Who fund the corrupt leader? Who signed contract with the government not to be corrupt? Who banks the money stolen by corrupt officials? The same institution, the same bank, the same countries. Corruption in poor nation is profitable for rich ones. This is not a side effect, remember. In many cases, it's a feature. History shows us what actually worked. China lifted 800 million people out of poverty in 30 years. How? They ignored the IMF conditions. They protected their industries. They controlled their own capital flows. They extracted value from foreign investment on their own terms. South Korea, Taiwan, Japan, all of them developed behind protective walls. All of them ignored the pre-market advice now given to the poor countries. The advice being given to the poor countries today: open your market, remove your protection, trust foreign investment, is the opposite of what every successful developing nation actually did. The countries giving the advice did not follow it themselves. That gap between the advice and history is worth sitting with. Here is where we are in 2026. The debt of low-income countries had doubled in the last decade. resource extraction is accelerating, especially for the minerals needed for the green energy transition. The same system that extracted oil for a century is now extracting cobalt and lithium. Different resource, same structure, same country is losing. The world is not poor because there is not enough. The world has never produced more wealth in its entire history than it does right now. The poverty that exists in 2026 is not a natural. Remember, it's not a natural disaster, it's a policy outcome. And a policy outcome can be changed, but only by people who understand what the policy actually is. Now you do. The question is, what do you do with that? Follow this page, share this video with someone who needs to see it, because the first step to changing a system is understanding that it was built, and anything built by people can be rebuilt by people. The only question is whether enough of us decide it's time.